guys, it's Melissa. Happy Monday. I hope you're hanging in there. We are going to 3D print today, okay? And I have, oh my God, I already messed this up. Oh, okay. So we're not just 3D printing anything. We're gonna 3D print these little hooks. And these are S hooks that I just created the design with. They're kind of adjustable. They've got multiple ones here. I'm actually gonna get this going because this print is going to take about, I might have to sit like this today. It's gonna take about 11 minutes. So I'm gonna get that going while we're chatting. Oh, I've got my coffee here. I want you guys to be able to see, so I may need to back. Let's see how I can do this. Let's do it like that. Okay, so you guys can still see, and then we will talk about this. So, what I am printing today are these, as you can see, these mask clips. They are 3D. They are part of a mission that I am on to help save the ears. So basically, if you are making masks, I just started this. I want you guys to see it from start to finish. I'll show you in Silhouette Studio in a minute, but before it has to warm up to about 200 degrees before it starts. So we are at 192. It's going to start in a second. So this is the Silhouette Alta. All right, so here's what we're doing. So this clip just prevents the elastic from having to go around the ears, okay? So instead, it can go on this clip, which hooks behind the head instead, all right? And it just holds it like that to take any tension and prevent any like chafing or anything behind the ears for healthcare workers and whatnot. So this is a free design. You can go download it. Now, it is a free design for the Silhouette Alta, and I also included the STL, which is like a standardized 3D print file that you can use in other 3D printers as well. It's kind of like the equivalent of an SVG where you can use it in different programs. I also included the SVG for the cut file in case you have an Epilogue or a Glowforge and you want to cut these, because these can be cut like on acrylic as well. Now, those of you who have a Silhouette machine and don't have an Alta or any other way to cut these, you can try to cut them on Shrinky Dink material and then bake them, because those do get big and thick and kind of rigid. Just remember, if you're going to use Shrinky Dinks, you want to make sure that you enlarge the file. This is about a 3-inch file, and it works pretty well. Now, as you can see, hopefully I'm going to give you a little bit more of a close-up here. It's printing. So what this does, and I am printing in draft to make this as quick as possible so that we can print as many of these as we can, as fast as we can. So what it does is it puts this outline around it first, and then it creates the base. Okay, so the base is just what you are seeing here, the shape. It's laying down the filament, which is on the top, and as it goes through the machine, it heats it up, and then it's like icing. It puts it down there and it hardens. Now, this is the original Silhouette Alta. This machine is about 2 years old. The brand new Silhouette Alta Plus actually was just released last week. It can actually print even faster because it has a cooling fan, which allows the filament to cool really fast, and so it can print faster. With this one, it doesn't have the fan, so it can only print so fast that it still gives itself enough time to cool before it goes to the next layer. Okay, so it gets hard. Now, the one thing that's really cool about this is as soon as this is done printing, I'm going to take it off that base and I'm going to slightly bend it a little bit to contour. I didn't do it with this one, but I've done it with the other ones that I've made, and you can kind of contour it so that it can go around the head, all right? Okay, so while that's printing, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that we keep getting about the Alta. Can you use it? I actually need to pull this back a little bit more. I'm sorry to keep moving the camera around. I want you guys to be able to see, but I also want you to be able to see me at the same time. Okay, so a couple of things. Does it have its own software? Yes, it has its own software, which is free. Anyone can download it. I actually prefer what I do is I design. So again, this was just an S shape. I started as an S like this. I put 2 circles, welded 2 circles on there, and then I cut, with the knife tool in Silhouette Studio, this top curve off, multiplied it, and then welded that on there. So that was a flat file. You can see that's how it came together. Then what I do is I keep it in my silhouette cloud, because from the Ulta software, the 3D software, you can access your Silhouette Studio Cloud. So then it's available in there. So this is what it looks like in my Ulta software. All right, so once you get it in there, then you can tell it how thick you want it. And these I'm making it's 2.4 millimeters thick, but you can adjust it, and I had to adjust a couple times to, to make sure that it was the right thickness and everything. But what you're seeing now is it's building this, and it'll tell me how much longer. So this one, for example, it has 6 minutes left. So it tells me when I begin how much the print estimated time, and this one told me 11. Again, I'm doing it on draft. If I was doing it on standard, it was I think 16, and then if you did best, it would add even more time beyond that. But because of the circumstance, and because we are literally just trying to get these things out fast, a draft works fine. Okay, so it'll do now. So I want you guys to see this. What it does is it does the solid base, and then hopefully you can see that. I'm gonna take this key out so maybe you can see a little bit better. It's going to start putting down these single lines, which basically are going to make almost like little, I don't know if platforms is the right word, but it'll build up so it doesn't solid fill this in the center. And that's part of, like, in the draft mode, how it does that. And that edge part that you see there that's around, which looks like an offset, that is, it does that for every design. It does that automatically. It does, yeah. So, all right, so while this is printing, let's talk a little bit more about the, as I said, this is the original Ulta. Those of you just joining, I have been making these clips. They are for bands, ear bands, the mask bands to hold, so you can hold it like this and put it around the back of your head instead of, looping these through the ears. A lot of nurses, doctors, healthcare workers are saying that they've been hurting their ears because of these. I'm actually, the couple that I have that I've done for these demos and whatnot, I'm just sending them to a couple of people who request, who said, if you have any extra, please send. So this one's going out. This one that I have here will go out as well. But I'm giving you guys a free file in the hopes that if you have an Ulta, if you have another 3D printer, if you decide that now's a good time to get the new Ulta Plus, which I threw the link up top, that you will hopefully print these. I've never really, I have a hard time, I should say, finding things to make with the Ulta that are like, oh, that's super useful. A lot of the stuff that you make is fun. Like I made this little keychain of my son's face, and then you can apply vinyl, you can paint these whatever you want, and they're very cute. But and it doesn't have to be flat like this. It can literally be like 3D, like a little pot or something, But this is something that is very, very useful right now. And while there's a small bed on the Ulta to be able to do these, you can certainly make them on there. You can actually probably do about 3 or 4 at a time if you lined them all up. Of course, the print time would take longer for those, but you could certainly line them all up on the base and make multiples at the same time. Okay, so in order to do that in the Silhouette Ulta, or the 3D Ulta program, which is called Silhouette 3D, you would just do copy paste and like you would on regular Silhouette Studio to make multiple versions. Now, as I said, as soon as this comes out, you're going to get a warning in Silhouette Studio that says let it cool. I'm actually not going to let it cool. I'm going to try to remove it as fast as I can so that I can just slightly bend it, and then it'll stay in that slightly bent, and that way it'll be able to contour to the head a little bit more. Okay? All right, those of you asking about the masks, which I'm having a hard time seeing comments just with the position that this is, but those of you asking about the masks, I have the mask file and instructions are also on there. This file is actually from the Silhouette Design Store, so I've linked to that, and I have step-by-step directions on that. People are asking, what can you use aside from elastic? Because elastic is very difficult to find. This is the little last piece that I have, actually. These are girls' headbands. You can get this elastic. I literally, one headband, which is, completely goes around, I just cut in half, and use one for each, okay? This is a child size mask, which I put down to 90% scale in Silhouette Studio, and then you can enlarge as you go. If you're looking for the scale option, which is another question that we continue to get, you can select your file and then open the transform panel from the right sidebar, and then on the transform panel there's 5 tabs. One of those tabs has like a diagonal arrow. That's the scale tool, and then you'll just put in there 90% and that will scale down the design. And if you're having trouble fitting the 4 pieces that are needed for each mask onto one single 12 by 12, I can tell you that the 90%, the 100% size, which is considered small, and then the medium size, they all will fit on a 12 by 12. I've done them all. You just need to ungroup and then nest those shapes together. So it's going to be kind of difficult for me to explain, but if you put one of the larger pieces and one of the smaller pieces on top of each other, and then to the right or on the other side of that, flip them. So the larger pieces on top and then the smaller, you can nest them together. The way it comes into Silhouette Studio, it might not fit if you don't ungroup them. Okay, so this has about 30 seconds left, so I'm going to come around to the other side, and as soon as it's done, I'm going to take this out. I do need to put the key back in here. You want to, when you are printing, you do want to keep this closed. That keeps the heat in there, and it's also just a safety feature. Okay, so I'm going to take this out as soon as it's done, so that we can bend it. Okay, and it does come with a little tool, which I don't know where it is right now, so I'm just going to use this thing that I found here, which is like a, all right, so it's done. Now, just be careful, okay? It's still a little warm, so I'm able, well, you can see that, to this, you don't need this little offset piece, but now I've been able to shape it a little bit. If it cools completely, and that only takes a second or two, you're not going to be able to do that. So hopefully you can see how that is now curved a little bit. Okay? All right, I'm going to go back around so you guys can, I can move the camera back up, and hopefully if you guys have these, you can use your Silhouette Alta at the same time that you use your other Silhouette machine. So I actually have been doing that. I was printing these at the same time that I was cutting mask designs, okay? I mean, pieces for the face masks, okay? Someone's asking, can you design it so it curves? You can't. It's not going to, I don't believe it will do that, but there's no reason that you can't do it this way. The way that it builds, it has to have support, the whole way on the bed. So I don't believe that you can do that. I guess you could try, but honestly, this is a very easy way to do it. Okay. All right. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And again, grab those files. I put it in 2 different places in case you were having trouble downloading. I think originally I had it just on Sofancy, and it was and the site got overrun because too many people went at the same time. So I also threw it on Dropbox, and so you can download it from either place. Okay. All right, you guys, I hope that you are staying safe and staying healthy. Help out where you can, if you can, in the way of, there's a little that we can do while we're home, but if you can make masks, if you can use an Alta to make these hooks, someone somewhere will appreciate it, okay? Also, I should point out that these masks, this is like a face covering. I'm hesitant to call it a mask, but this is child size too, by the way. Those are to protect when you have to go out in public, if you absolutely have to. Someone's asking how to do it on a CAMEO 3. If you're going to do these on a CAMEO 3, and I have honestly not had time to completely test it, but Shrinky Dinks is a great option, I think, because of the way that it, thickens and then gets hard after you cut it. I've tried on a couple of other materials, and just with the tension of the elastic, it's just not sturdy enough. So I do believe, though, that Shrinky Dinks should work. If you were using something like, oh my gosh, epoxy, it just takes too long. That's like a, several day type thing, and we just don't have time right now. So anyway, that I think will be your best option if you don't have a 3D printer. I will have more information on the new Silhouette Alta Plus tomorrow on the blog. I threw something together today. Those were released late last week, and actually the timing is very It wasn't planned this way. It was actually supposed to be out in September and then was delayed till December and is finally released. So if you're interested in an Ulta, now's a great time to pick one up. And I'm sure it will come back to really be very, very helpful. All right, you guys, I hope you have a fabulous day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. See ya.